Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today at Beautiful Literature with me, Teacher Martha. I am so glad that you found time to check what it is that we are doing in here. And I am hoping this is not your first time. And if it is, thank you so much. And just want to refer you to our previous works that we've done. Check up the other videos we've done. We've done full analysis of the Fathers of Nations and the chapter by chapter. We've done the themes, the characterization, and the styles. And on this video today, we are into the book of the Parliament of Owls, which we've already done the plot analysis of scene after every scene, act and after every act. We've done the themes and now we are on styles. Now, I want to just take a minute to explain that on this one, I'll keep it very short. Not because it is not important, but because there is so much that I covered in details in the previous text, that is the Fathers of Nations, when I was dealing with styles. I actually dedicated a whole video talking about styles and stylistic devices and the role they play. When an author decides to use a certain style, what is the relevance of that style? Why would he use that style? And I think I explained a bit on that, and I wouldn't want to go back to this. So I therefore want to refer you back to that link and that video. Kindly take a minute and have a look at it if you haven't, and therefore it will make it a bit easier for you to understand much more on style and stylistic devices. So on this one, I just want first to list for you the styles that you probably can find in this text and the styles that you'd want to use. And there are so many. Actually, they're the same ones that you use on narratives. They're the same ones that you use on poetry. They're the same ones that you've done on the Samaritan and on Fathers of Nations. It's the same styles. And I want to believe by now, if you're doing the third book, that is the optional text, by now you should be somewhere. You should be better. You're not where you are when you're beginning with the Fathers of Nations, and maybe you're dealing with that for the first time. That's why I'm not going to take a lot of time looking at every style. And some of them I will ask you to look at them for yourself. And let me just list down what probably at your own time you will look at. Number one, you will look for imageries. In the text, look for metaphors and similes. I'm hoping that when you read through the Parliament, you'll be able to see the imageries and the similes there. Number two, I hope you'll be able to also tell flashback. When you look at an event, you're able to say, this is flashback. It is taking us back to events that happened in the past. You'll also be able to see foreshadowing or premonition. When you look at an illustration, you're able to see this is helping us to see the things that are yet to come. Like even the dreams that were happening, the discussions that would go on, you'd feel like this is a foreshadowing. They are preparing us for the things that are yet to come. The change of power, the change of leadership. The way Osogo was saying, we'll have a sane parliament, a parliament that is sober, that is not drunk with power, that is not greedy. And even the dream that Moneybags had, that is foreshadowing. I'm hoping that as you look at the text, you're able to pick those things. Rhetorical questions, I am so sure you can pick that on your own. So really, I don't want to go through rhetorical questions with you here, and so on. In this text, there's a lot of humor, and the conversations between those people, it's dark. They call it dark humor. It's humor in the sense of that it's really meant to make us laugh, and in one way it makes us laugh. Like one of the instances that makes me laugh, even when I think about it as a lady, is the conversation between our lady and socialite all. I hope you can remember that. There was a time the two of them were having a fight. And they were fighting over, money bags. Really, I don't think it was really about money bags, but they were just having their small women discussions and all that. But remember, socialite is the girlfriend or the mistress to Moneybags. And so our lady comes and is trying to taunt socialite all and making her feel like you're nothing, you are just a cheap person and so on. But socialite all will not allow herself to be insulted. So what does she tell Iron Lady? And tells her that you should even look at yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself, because you should actually look at your unpolished talons and your dry beak. I thought that is really very funny. Okay, it's an insult, but I imagine why would you even insult someone like that? I mean, it's meant to just create a light moment for the audience. That it's never that serious. And of course, Iron Lady also gives her feedback on the same and says those yours that is manicured, we know where they are manicured, in the dark salons and so on, in the night, nocturnal salons. And so there is so much of humor going on, and I'm hoping as you read the text, whatever makes you feel like you want to laugh and smile at the exchanges, that is humor. I would ask you to go back to it on your own and just have a look at it and see whether you're able to pick it for yourself. Of course, there is the use of irony and sarcasm, and I will touch just a little bit on irony, but I want to hope that at your own time you'll be able to come across the instances where it's ironical. This is what we expected, but the opposite happened. So there is so much of that we expected the leadership to take care of the people, of the birds, but the opposite is what it's ironical. It's we expected Aramtidi to be awarded because of being faithful and being passing on the propaganda and so on, but it's ironical that they killed him, you know, all those things. So when you talk about irony, we are talking about the things that happened that really we didn't expect them to happen. That is the situational irony. And now, but I'll just touch on irony a bit, but on dramatic irony, I will get us there. And so what I'm preparing you is that I'm not going to tell you about all the styles. Now, that what I've told you is enough. Allow me to just go through two styles, which I thought probably it's one that students struggle with. And another one, by the way, we need to add on that list is contrast. Contrast is a style that the author has used quite a bit, where he's contrasting this life and the other life. He's contrasting this situation and the other situation, this person and the other one, the two people, the two situations, the two events, and so on. And let me just say one example of contrast that probably will help you to understand when Act 5 is opening up. I hope it's Act 5 or Act 4, where we are having the stage directions are showing us how the royal trees, the royal space, how it is decorated with affluence and so much provision. The grass is green, everything is okay. But on the other side, where the birds are living, it's desolate, it is rugged, the nests are hanging, almost falling, the trees are, you know, all that. The author the playwright is contrasting the two, not comparing, but contrasting, showing us the difference between the life that the normal day birds and the grain eaters live and the life that the royal owl and his cronies, how they live, and so on. And so it is important for us, even as we read through the text and ask ourselves, where is the author? Where is the playwright trying to contrast issues? And as I wind up on that, it's important to say that as you do that, always ask yourself, what is the relevance of this style? Developing of the story, that is the plot, developing of the character and characterization, and development of the themes. Now that you will find it in the other video that I talked about, and I invite you to have a look at it. So let's go into the first style that I want us to look at. And number one style is symbolism. This is a style that gives students some trouble. I am not very sure why, but I thought I wanted to look at the symbols used in this text, so that we are able to pick them up. And some of them, other people will call them motifs. And for me, I think I find the word motif a bit difficult and making it complicated. So for me, it's symbolic. It symbolizes something, and it's a representation of something. So you can call it motif, but I would rather call it symbol. So symbolizes something. So let me begin by the use of the music, the songs. You know, the musical aspect of this book. There is quite a bit of music that is being used. Starting from page 1 up to the last one, you realize there's a theme that is flowing through the type of music that is being played and the music that is coming up. And apart from when there's a wedding, Onchogorio is getting married, and where there's jubilation and excitement. But through the text, especially through Osogo, you realize that with his flute and his playing his flute, the songs are very sad. The songs are very, very sad, very sorrowful, very painful, and so on. And the play opens with Osogo and his flute, and that song keeps running through the text and gets to a point where actually one of the things that the Moonlight Bill is supposed to do is to actually stop him from his singing. He will not be allowed to keep singing as he wishes. And so that in itself, what does it do? It helps us to understand the mood of this text. This text is a very sad text where we are seeing oppression, injustice, pain and suffering and violence and loss and all that is what is characterized in this text. And so the author decides to use Osogo's flute and songs to just keep reminding us that we are not happy, that the characters are not happy. The atmosphere is not a jolly one, it's not a happy one, it's not one of celebration. And that song, that's why even Moneybags and Royal All, they get to a point and they keep saying, I don't like when that flute is playing. I don't like when I hear those songs. And even as you carry on, you realize that there's a song that is they sing. And they identify, when they hear that song, they know the meaning of that song. It's a song of freedom. It's the song they sang when they were having their freedom. And of course, it is a song of celebration. But again, it's also a song to just, bring up the pain and the anger and the issues they've been through. That's why when Moneybags hears Aramtidi singing that song, he's asked the red string, wait a minute, why is Aramtidi singing that song? Because that song is not supposed to be sung when he's passing our message. That song sounds like he's passing a message to the birds. And at that point is when they realize, by the way, Aramtidi is not doing our thing. He's already gone to the other camp. And so the use of song is very symbolic in this text. It is meant to communicate something. It is meant to help us, the audience, to understand the theme that reigns very, very strongly in this text. And Osogo is, of course, playing a very major role. And up to the end, you realize that by the time you're having the celebration with Oyundi and the group and all that, we still see Osogo now, of course, leading the others with his flute and playing songs of jubilation, of excitement, of winning, and so on. So the issue of music and singing is very fundamental in this text. The playwright has used it deliberately. And to remind us the struggle and to also celebrate our achievements. The other point that is symbolic, is the twittering that is contrasted with the hooting. The twittering of the birds, the day birds and the grain eaters and all that, it's twittering. But now when it comes to the owls, they don't twitter, they hoot. And if you look at this text, the hooting and the looting are together. They sound like they are two words. It's two in one word. The hooting and the looting. So that you can go hooting and looting. They keep telling Moneybag and Red String that the owls need to stop hooting and looting, And so in this case, therefore, we see the hooting being associated with evil, with not something very interesting, with the sound that is being made. It is not for excitement, it's not for fun, it is not for, it's not just to mean well. It is actually a symbol of evil. And so, but on the other hand, when the birds are twittering, it's an expressive one. It is one that they do when they're just chatting and having a good time and just conversation that is going on. It's even if there is something evil about it, in quotes, is this fight for their freedom. They will go twittering and they are fighting for their space. But on the other hand, the hooting symbolizes evil. It symbolizes the effect of the owls on the birds, where they intimidate them, they harass them, they make it very difficult for them, and so on. And on that, I am hoping that you're able to see how symbolic that is. Let me go to this to the use of dreams as we talk about symbolism, because the dreams we can look at it as a different style, but I would rather put it under symbol, that this dream is symbolic. It symbolizes something. We have quite a number of dreams, and I think only one person is having so many dreams, and that is Moneybags. Moneybags is having a dream in Act 2, where he's you can actually see that out of the dream that he has, he's actually very afraid that Royal Owl will get to discover him, or Royal Owl will be able to know him as the traitor he is. And you actually can tell from this dream that Moneybags is not a straightforward person. For him, he's greedy, he's hungry for power. He's actually would want to take the position of Moneybags, of Royal Owl. And you see that even in Act 4, he's also having another dream, which in those two dreams, it is the same theme. It is the same thing that is coming out. That is not a genuine person. He's not as clean as he's pretending to be. Remember, he's very sycophantic. You remember the song that he keeps singing when Royal Owl comes and he says that you are the owl of the moment of, all those things that are really, very annoying words that for him to keep saying. And so he's doing that to cover up his evil plan. He would want to see Royal Owl not in the seat of the throne anymore, so that he can sit there. And who knows, maybe really we've been saying that we are not very sure who gave Oyundi the details about the Royal Owl and his weaknesses, but I think Moneybags is not short of doing that, because at the look of it, he really would have wanted to be powerful. And that is seen especially when he says in scene 2, that is Act 4, he says when he's strolling at the Parliament grounds and he's talking to himself, and he's saying that that he wishes he was a falcon, fly high and peck at the clouds and scatter the nectar. He feels very bad that he can't go as high as falcon can go. So this clearly shows us that Moneybags is someone who is hungry for power. He would really want that powerful position. He'd really want to do something bigger than just what he's doing. And remember, he's already big enough. He's already has so much in his hands. The Royal Owl trusts him. He's actually like the person who runs this kingdom. He's the one who decides what happens. Royal Owl most of the times allows him to, but it's not enough. He still wishes that he's like the falcon and can fly very high. And he's greedy and traitorous to the Royal Owl, and he wishes to be powerful and replace him. And it's important for us to note that. Let me also go into another symbol on the dream, where Telltale has a dream, and in that dream she's able to see a future parliament where the owls are dethroned, and later, as we can see, that dream comes true, because by the end of the day, after all is said and done, we have the owls are not in leadership anymore. It's no longer the parliament of owls, but a flock of birds, And so therefore we are seeing the coming true of these dreams, that actually whatever they are seeing, even Moneybags, the dream that he had where he was being overthrown and he was being caught by Royal Owl, mudslinging him and saying that he's the one who killed Onsogo and the weaver. He was in charge of the Weaver Bird massacre. That dream that he had, and how he was caught red-handed by Royal Owl in the dream, but mouthing him and tainting his name, it is the same thing that happened in the future. And therefore, that is more of foreshadowing. It is also symbolic and so on. So I'm hoping that you understand that. And let me go into the use of the animals. Remember that this being a text that is set on the animal kingdom, we cannot ignore why the author uses some animals instead of the others. Why does he pick, why did he pick the hare, Nyakarondo, instead of picking elephant? Why didn't he pick a rhino or a dog, and decided to pick the snake and the python? Or even the bat? Why? There is a reason, because it needed to symbolize something. It needed to mean something. And so therefore, I would want you to look at the animals that are there. The hare. Why the hare? We know why the hare. Because of his intelligence, with his witty, his cunning, his shrewd, and even in our folk tales, we know that the hare has always been a representation, a symbol of that it can actually trick even very big animals and so on. And we see the same. And so the author deliberately uses that to symbolize the same. When you talk about the bat that cannot see, you know how ironical it is that the owls would rather use the bat to do very sensitive detective work, you know, and they actually can't see. And he says they can't see, they don't have sympathy, they only have teeth to bite and so on. And even when you talk about the Python and who is ruthless, and the Terminator, you realize that the author, the playwright, deliberately has picked those animals because of the traits they have. And so it's symbolic. And so the red string, the owls, and most of them has been described with the strings. And we have the red string, we have the black string, we have, you know, and all that. So why the strings? Why are these owls being referred to with the strings? And remember, they also referred to as the puppets. And of course, it's very clear that it's because they are objects that are being manipulated and played around with by moneybags and royal owl. They do exactly what it is they're told. It's like puppets that you keep pulling in your hands. And so they are the strings to represent their inability to even stand up on their own and just make their own decisions and stand up, because very few of them, even the feathered beak, who at some point was very supportive of Oyundi and his group, at some point he was not able, he became a puppet and so on. But it's important for us to just check on a few, like the red string, who one, we are told that he had a protruded stomach, you know. And I know I don't want to go into that because some of our stomachs are just protruding, whether we are not like a red string, but we know that a protruded stomach is a show of wealth. Let me use wealth. And or someone is comfortable or is settled, or, you know, you're not suffering so much. And but in this, we'll talk about the protruded stomach as a sign of greed, you know, that you have too much with you, you have too much money with you, you have been able to eat, you eat so much. Remember, even in the text, we see every small party, we see them saying, we have eaten, we are full. The only problem is, how will we fly from here, because we are too heavy to fly now. That is what we are talking about. That red string is portrayed as such. And then we also told that he wears hollow glasses made of millet stalks, and then he wears a tie, you know. And I think when you come across that kind of a person on the streets, a big stomach, wearing specs, a tie, and looking very, you know, what the first thing that comes to your mind? That maybe that person is educated, that person has some class or something. Then the question is, why would this kind of a person or this kind of a bird, which is like this, find itself as a puppet? Why can't you make up your own mind and lead yourself without allowing moneybags and royal owl to manipulate you? Because red string is one who is really is very sycophantic. He will do everything moneybags wants. But in the engagements, you can see he has some ability to think, you know. It's not like Moneybags, who just is outrightly greedy and evil. But when it comes to intellectual discussions, Moneybags will have a problem. That's why even in Parliament, when he's talking, when there's a mention about the extra cathedral, he's actually now starting to get annoyed that they have called us a cathedral and a church and all that. And he doesn't even understand the meaning of those words until now, when Iron Lady says, this is the problem of having people who qualify to be cooks in seats of power, in positions of power. They should not have been here because they don't even understand the basic things we are talking about. And so it is important for us to keep thinking and asking ourselves, why is this being called this way? Of course, Moneybags, when you hear the name Moneybags, it means one who is, you know, moneyed, and he's a gatekeeper. Of course, he's ruthless and all that. He's the custodian of the money and the deals that are in that environment, in that kingdom. If you want to find someone who will come up with deals and ideas where money can be gotten, irrespective of what happens, that person will be Moneybags. He will do that for you. And the other one is Iron Lady, who is firm, brave, and stands up for what is right. We have Socialite Owl, who is a demonstration of vanity, just like the way her name suggests, and her behavior. Remember her in the makeup bill. And we have Straight-Eyed, who minces no words. We have the parrots that talk too much. We have Oyundi, who is referred to as the fire finch, that is, who fires rebellion and carries a firebrand wherever she goes. From the moment we heard about Oyundi from the beginning of the play all the way to the end, I mean, she really deserves to be called a fire finch, and she's done a good job. Telltale, of course, being the one to warn the others, talk too much, and a lot of twittering, and of course that's why she's being picked to pass on the propaganda. And of course, Mr. Speaker has a main, you know, this kofia they put, and it's made of a lion's whatever, fur and so on. And is that symbolic? Yes, it is. That to show power and might. Remember that lion is in the Lion Kingdom is the king. And so when Mr. Speaker wears that, it's a show of power, and to threaten the others and to make them know, by the way, the speaker has so much power, you don't even try to contradict him and do something different. And yes, that is it on symbolism. I want to hope that the early introduction done and now on explaining about symbolism, you understand better. And if you have something to add, you want to say, Mwalimu, I don't think that point is symbolic. I don't think that's a good point. What if we remove this and put this one? I would love to engage with you on that note. I love to hear divergent opinions. I love someone telling me, but there you are wrong. It is really a good place where someone tells you, I think this is not okay. Change it to this one. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video where we talk about the next style. Thank you very much.